It is the Lenten season, and of course, you know what that means for a lot of people. A lot of people know that during the Lenten season, some folks don't eat meat on Fridays. But with the pandemic still fresh in people's minds, cooking at home may be safer than dining out. With that in mind, the question arises, how do you cook the perfect piece of fish? Well, we went to the experts, and boy, do we have some experts for you today. Chef David Willocks, owner of the Baker's Table, and his chef de cuisine, Porter Lewis, are here to school us on cooking fish. Guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Our pleasure, Clyde. How are you?
I'm fine. Got a question right off the bat. When it comes to cooking fish, what do you look for in a good cut of fish?
Good cut of fish. You look for it not to smell too fishy, first of all. That's an indication that it's pretty fresh.
Yeah, very fresh.
Color. Honestly, I go with just a good fish supplier, someone that I can trust. It's a big part of it.
Okay, all right. Well, so you're going to do a little something for us. I think it's salmon. So how do we get started? What are you doing and how do we get started with it?
Yeah, so crispy skin fish is something that's really wonderful. And for us at the restaurant, a lot of times we find that great cooking can be easier than people think. So I'm a pretty good fish cook, but Chef Porter is actually a lot better at making this fish than me. So he's going to share like 2 or 3 things that we think are really crucial to make amazingly crispy salmon. Porter, go for it. What you got?
Absolutely, folks. So you want to take your fish, you want to dry it on a towel. You want your fish skin to be as dry as possible. This way, it's going to crisp up better than you've ever seen it before. We're going to take some salt. We're going to cover our flesh of the fish here without getting on the skin. If you get on the skin, it's going to start to pull moisture out, which is not going to result in this crispy fish. So we have our seasoned fish. It's all dry. Get some oil in your pan. It should be hot. The big thing here, folks, is that I'll be starting it in a pan just to get the skin crispy, and I'll be throwing it in an oven. So you want to make sure your oven is all hot, ready to go. I cook my fish at 425. So you're going to lay your fish in the pan here. You're going to hear it crisp up a little bit.
How much oil, Chef? How much oil do you put in the pan?
Oh, man. Maybe like 3 tablespoons.
Okay.
Not a lot.
Enough to coat the bottom so you can see it sort of shimmering around. It doesn't need to be like a lake of oil.
It doesn't need to be deep fried.
Yeah.
Now you apply just enough pressure so that you hear these bubbles coming off the skin. And at this point, you stop and you'll see that the fish is adhered to your pan. At this point, you can just put it right in the oven. You're good to go. It takes about 10 minutes. You kind of like watch how it's cooking. You feel it. You'll see the skin itself change color. Mm-hmm. And that's all. Easy peasy.
So again, those tricks are: we dry it with a towel, we salt it, but not the skin.
Not the skin.
Go into a hot pan, skin down, and you press it into the pan for about 15 seconds, and then we go into a hot oven and don't touch it.
Don't touch it. Don't mess with it.
This is where it's simpler than I ever thought. So that's all we do. We pull it out with a nice metal spatula, and here's our dish that we're serving at the restaurant right now. We're serving it with some saffron and tomato stew and a little herb salad.
Okay.
Simple for you, Clyde.
So right quick, what makes cooking fish different than cooking other meats?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think you have to be a lot more delicate. Fish, by its very nature, is a very delicate, fleshed protein. So soft touch, I would say. Porter, you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say less is more. You don't want to be fussy with it. You want to let the fish cook itself.
There you go.
Okay, now let's talk about spicing, because you were quite, relatively speaking, light with the spice. It was salt. That's salt, and that was it. Would you recommend other spicing or leave it alone?
That's up to whoever's cooking. I personally like my fish I just want to taste the fish, so I just put salt on it. You're obviously free to put pepper or coriander and fennel. I like the set that's going with the fish to have a lot of the punch and the flavor.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. I prefer to have the fish be simply prepared with just salt, and then I'm going to add a sauce to it if I want to have some extra stuff going on.
If you had one piece of advice for folks about a common mistake you see that they should work on avoiding, what would that be?
Starting with wet fish.
Wet fish, for sure.
Yeah.
Want to be dry. Get your kitchen.
Dry
Get your
fish.
towel. Get your paper towels.
There you go.
Dry that fish.
Okay. All right. So if people would rather have you do the cooking, how can they connect with you?
Well, best way to check out what we're doing is on our website, which is bakerstablenewport.com. We are making this salmon dish for dine-in and for takeout and delivery, and we're running a very special takeout-only special. We're doing fried cod, super delicious. That's takeout only. So we're offering a couple fishy options for folks right now.
Gentlemen, thank you both so much for talking to us today.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
All righty, Mona.